Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be trying out this adorable contender to the Wuling Hongguang Mini's crown. It is of course the Geely Panda Mini. Let's check it out. So here we are with the Geely Panda Mini, and this is the latest entrant to China's burgeoning electric microcar scene. And if you know anything about the Chinese car industry, you'll know that the Wuling Hongguang Mini is the GOAT in this segment. It sells about 30 to 40,000 every single month, and it's essentially got a whole new generation of Chinese drivers onto the road. But if there's going to be any contender for that crown, it could be this one, because look at it, it's so cute. It's super cute. These big circular mawpish eyes, this crescent moon daytime running light, which looks really cool, sort of slightly flat indented face. Reminds me in white actually a lot of big Hero 6, but maybe a bit more squared off. You'll see we've got quite a high waistline and a bigger bonnet on this car than you do get on the Wuling Hongguang. Now if I come around here, I'll show you these alloys. Okay, they're not alloys, they're wheel trims, but they're only 14 inches. This is the big one. They're called bear claw alloys. They look a little bit like a bear claw, I suppose. Just bigger than the ones that I had on my original Mini years ago. You can get these in 13 or 14 inches, so little tiny wheels. We've got fake carbon wing mirror casing here, which is interesting. And this also slightly strange step up in the B-pillar, which to be fair, does block your view a little bit in the back, but it looks quite cool. Then you've got this enormous door. I mean, that must be at least a meter from front to back. It's almost the entire wheelbase of this car. And one more feature I'll show you on the front here is this enormous 64-inch panoramic sunroof, which is basically the entire roof of the car. It's very squared off, looks a lot like a Japanese K car. So let's check out the back and I'll show you how squared off it really is. So at the back, as I said, we do have a very squared off look, very much like a Japanese K car, quite tall, quite boxy. We don't have a full width daytime running light on this car, unlike most other cars in China these days, but we do get these cute little units with a C-shaped daytime running light, little triangle in the corner here as well. You get your indicators and your reversing lights in there, and your fog light is down here. Now this car, despite being just over 3 meters long, also comes with a reversing camera and parking sensors, just in case you struggle to park a car this small. I don't understand how you possibly can. You'll notice how we have Geom written on the back here. Geometry used to be the budget electric brand of Geely. They've now been kind of absorbed into Geely, I would say. And this is somehow in the middle, Geom being a small electric Geely. Not sure. Anyway, we've got a hatch here, but as you'll see, we don't have a massive amount of space in there. I'll demonstrate with this bag. You'll see how wide that is. This basically just about fits in there. But apparently, there's 60 litres of space in there. Don't know how they were calculating that, but if you need more, up to 800, you can fold the seats flat. They have a 50-50 split. So you can always take 3 people or 2 people if you need something much bigger in here. That's not bad actually. Decent amount of space inside. Of course, for what you're going to be using this car for, daily shopping, things like that, you don't really need much more space than that. One thing I will point out though, this has clipped me a few times and it's slightly lower down. So if you do buy one, watch out for this. So that's the back end. Let's go and check out the interior. Okay, so stepping into the Geely Panda Mini. And you know what? Actually, there's quite a lot of space in here. This is really quite spacious. And actually, it's also small enough for me to just slide over and sit here in the passenger seat. So if I want to park up against a bush or a wall with this side, I can just get out on that side, which is great. That's quite functional. Now, as I said, we're at the bottom end of the market, so let's just get a few things out of the way. Yes, we've got a lot of harsh plastics, not a lot of insulation, but that's what we're expecting. So we're not going to talk too much about that. Let's talk about what we do have, and actually, there's probably a lot more than you would expect. So, very basic steering wheel, no reach or rake adjustment, of course. No buttons on there other than a horn, but you do get an airbag. You also get ABS and EBD, so it does come with some safety features. What we do get On this one, which is one of the top editions, this is an 8-inch screen, so it's actually from about here to here, and you get different functions in there. That's quite good because you can connect it to an app on your phone, and you can therefore get your music, your maps, your radio, almost like a screen mirroring for your Android or your iPhone, and it works pretty well. It's a little bit slow, but it does work and it functions pretty well. Now, on the lower models, you don't get a screen at all. You don't even get a radio. You don't even get speakers. On this car, we do get speakers. We get 2. That's it. That's the maximum number of speakers you can get, and they're, you know, about as good as you would expect. If you really want some music, I would probably get yourself a big Bluetooth speaker and stick it in one of these pockets on the dashboard. Now, for those cars, they will deal with this 9.6-inch screen, which is here, and this actually comes with a hell of a lot of information on it. So even without this, you can still use your ventilation controls, and we do get air conditioning, which is cool. Your drive selector is down here, or as it's translated on the Geely website, a super cute knob, and that just has reverse, neutral and drive. And your window switches, electric windows as well, on all models are down there as well. So yeah, it's very basic, very friendly, but you'll see it's actually very light in here as well because of that panoramic roof. It's absolutely enormous. You get also mirrors on your, you get on the passenger side as well. You do. So you do get a passenger side mirror. You got your microphones here, so actually you can talk to the car as long as you have this screen and use that sort of speaking to the car functionality. But you get a big tray across the back there for extra space, quite a deep pocket here, another pocket under there, and then you get quite slim, I would say, door pockets. So you're not gonna, you have to squeeze a bottle in there if you want to get one into there. You get a handbrake, manual handbrake, and we've also got a 120 watt 12V power outlet there. And on this one we also get 2 USBs, just normal USBs, they're not USB-Cs, but yeah, it's super basic, all that you want. Also, these chairs, by the way, these are sort of a one-piece design, they're quite funky, and the top part you can unzip, so you can take the cover off and go and wash it if your kids make a mess of the car. Let's go and check out the back. Okay, so climbing into the back of the Panda Mini is actually not as bad as you might think. If you get the right shape, you can get in the back, no problem. Now let's put this front chair back. Let's put it slightly more laid back than it might be. And yeah, I mean, if I put my knees directly behind, they are touching the back of the seat, but if I just open them slightly, actually, it's pretty adequate, and there's loads of footroom down there as well. So it's not as tight back here as you'd think. It's a lot bigger than the Wuling Hongguang, but then the car is longer, so that does make a difference. Now, fairly basic, of course. You've only got a little armrest. The doors, though, they're so big, the cup holders for the rear seats are actually in the back of the front door, so you can still access that. Quite airy in here, quite spacious because of this 64-inch panoramic roof, but we don't get that in all models, so it might be a bit more dingy in the lower end models. The biggest gripe for me really is this kind of shape in the B pillar, because all I can see over it, if I was a child, that would be totally blocking my view, and it can distract you a little bit when you're in the driving seat, so the visibility probably isn't as great as it could be, even though you do have quite a large glass house. So that's my only real gripe with the back. You also get 2 Isofix mountings on here, so if you do have kids, you can strap them in. So as I said, yeah, it's bigger than the Wuling Hongguang in the back, definitely more spacious. I think, though, it's time to take it for a drive. Okay, now I'm really pleased that I got to drive this car in Hangzhou, because we do have some very lovely little roads here around the lakes, and they're a little bit narrow and really accentuate the benefits of having a micro car like this. But I'll tell you where it really stands out, and that's in a car park. Because with all these other drivers in SUVs and saloons, and they doing 20-point turns trying to fit into a tiny parking space, in this, it's an absolute doddle. Now this car comes with a choice of 2 powertrains, both electric, both rear-wheel drive. You get a 20 kilowatt motor, it's about 27 horsepower, 85 Newton meters of torque. That is twinned with a 9.61 kilowatt hour battery, which is rated to 120 kilometers on the CLTC range. Now I will say that CLTC is pretty generous, so expect between 50 to 60% of that in reality. That one weighs just 715 kilograms, so it's pretty light. The 30 kilowatt variant, that's about 40 horsepower, comes with 110 Newton meters of torque. That one is paired with a 17 kilowatt hour battery, which is rated to 200 kilometers on the CLTC cycle. This one weighs 788 kilograms. So actually, in terms of weight and performance, it is very much similar to an original Mini. It's almost the exact same. In terms of that performance though, what I would say is it's not obviously super quick. You don't expect that, but it is sprightly. It's more than enough to drive around the city, and you don't feel like you're getting left behind by all the other cars. And you do get two choices of speed, so you get normal and sport. Sport is slightly quicker, but you know, it's not really, that was me exaggerating. It doesn't really put you back in your seat, but it's okay, it's fine. Now, on the ride comfort side, I would say it's slightly more rudimentary than normal cars. So it will be a little bit choppy over uncertain roads, but not as much as you would expect actually. It only really crashes over big speed bumps and big potholes, but most of the time it's totally fine. It's totally acceptable for a car that probably doesn't have the most advanced suspension in it. And more than that, it's fun. I mean, if you throw this car around corners, you will get a lot of lean. You will get a lean. You'll feel like the car is about to tip over. It probably won't because we've got a battery lower down, but it is smile inducing. It's fun. What I would say is, if you go around a tight corner, you can actually cock up the inside rear wheel, which lifts it up a little bit, and get a bit of wheel spin. That does put a smile on your face. It does feel like a little bit of a childish giggle. So yeah, it's great. It's really enjoyable to drive. The seats are totally adequate for the short journeys that you're going to be making in this. Probably you might get a little bit more uncomfortable if you're doing a really long journey, but to be honest, probably not that much. I mean, they're all right. Not massive bolsters or anything, but you're not expecting that. It is totally fine. The steering is light enough. Now the wheels are right out in the corner, so it's really direct. Of course, you do feel quite connected, I would say, to the steering. Yes, it is lighter because it's power steering assisted on all models, so you do get power steering on all of them, but the chances are you actually probably wouldn't need it. Skinny tiny wheels, you wouldn't even need power steering on this, but you get it anyway. I would definitely recommend having one of these as a second car. If you only make short journeys, you're not going to feel shortchanged at all. Chances are you're not going to be taking 4 people in your car, so you've got space for your shopping. You just fold down your seats or put it behind the seats or in the footwell down there. There's loads of space in there's actually loads of space in this car, genuinely spacious. On higher spec versions of this car, you can also get 22 kilowatt DC fast charging, so it will charge pretty quick. It's claimed to be able to do 30 to 80% in half an hour. Yesterday it took me about an hour to do 12% to a full charge. It only cost me about £1.80 or about $2.20 to charge, which was great. Now, pricing wise, the most basic version of the Panda, which is called the Cute Bear, that comes with nothing. That means no speakers, no radio, no central screen, no USB sockets, no reversing camera, no pano roof, but does come with electric windows and parking sensors and airbag and ABS and so on. That one starts at 39,900 RMB. That's about £4,800, $5,750. If you want the top of the line version, which is what we have, that one starts at 53,900 RMB. That's about £6,500 or $7,750, which is an absolute bargain, really, if you think about what you're getting. That compares quite favourably to the Wuling Hongguang, which starts at a lower price point, about 32,000 RMB. But if you want the fancier Wuling Hongguang, you've got to pay between 42 and 52,000 RMB for a Macaron edition, which comes with a few extra features. But I don't think it comes with as many nice features as this. It doesn't come with the 8-inch screen in the centre, for example. So actually, yeah, in terms of price comparison, this one is quite favourable. I do think you get a more grown-up, a more complete car with the Geely Panda Mini. It's also slightly bigger, so it's 14.5 centimetres longer. I believe it's about 5 centimetres wider. It is a couple of centimetres shorter in terms of height, but it does have a longer wheelbase as well. So you do get more car, and you feel that. You feel it definitely in the back seats compared to the Wuling Hongguang. So yeah, it's actually a really good car, really good value. So I'm actually genuinely considering one of these. For most of the journeys that I make, probably about 95% of them, this would be totally adequate. And it is cool. I don't feel like I'm missing anything from a big car. All right, that's it for our time with the Geely Panda Mini. Genuinely, I'm not looking forward to giving it back. I'm not. I've really enjoyed this the past 2 days. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it's lovable. Puts a smile on your face. Puts a smile on your face in the car park because it looks so cool. And it puts a smile on your face behind the wheel because it's actually quite fun to drive. And I do think that it's high enough above basic that it could actually be a daily driver for about 95% of people, and then have a bigger car for the other occasions. I genuinely do think that it's good enough to do that. And of course, we'd have more space on our roads and in our car parks as well if we did. But no, it's been a great job by Geely. I think this is genuinely a better car than the Wuling Hongguang. I think it's bigger, it's got more space inside, more appropriate for a family of 3 or more. And it's also got better equipment. That pano roof, the reversing camera, and the 22 kilowatt DC fast charging on some models as well is well worth having. So yeah, it's a really good job, deserves to do well, and who wouldn't want to see more of this face on the road? I know I would. So thank you for watching, and if you subscribe, thank you for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.